So Brett Kavanaugh was accused of sexual assault again, and this time the story is no more credible than the first time. The first time obviously was not credible in any sense of the terms. The person ruling over it basically said that it didn't even have enough evidence to go to trial in a civil court, and in a civil trial, and civil trials don't require nearly as much evidence to win than a criminal trial. So it basically had absolutely no evidence behind it. This time, again, it's no different. The story basically goes that it's not even a direct accuser. It's a third party making the accusation based off someone's behalf, basically, and that they said that they seen Kavanaugh put his, you know what, in this other person's hand as a joke, basically. I think is not exactly how, don't quote me on exactly, but that's basically how it went. And when the other person that this person claims was asked, they deny remembering it. So basically it's another made up thing, and I'm not sure why this is coming up again. He's already on the Supreme Court, all this kind of stuff. And the big point of this story, and I mean the other story too, is that for all the feminists and people, strong empowered women, all this kind of stuff, and just for women in general, not even that kind of stuff, making up all these false accusations and not throwing people who make these false accusations. And again, I'm going to preface at the start of this too. At this point, these accusations are pretty clearly false. More evidence could come out, maybe pointing towards it possibly being true, but at this point, it's 99.9% chance it's false. But getting back into it, the reason why this is such a hotly contested issue now is you have the groups of people that, I mean, you have people in the middle too, but the people that, when someone's accused of something, they always believe them no matter what, even if there's, I mean, a lot of times, even if there's overwhelming evidence to the contrary, then they'll change their mind, but a lot of them still will. And there's the people in the middle, and then there's the people that, I would say most of them, because of the other side, that when a high-profile case like this comes out, they don't believe them no matter what. And that's because so many of these cases have become fake, made up, politically motivated by money, all this kind of stuff that people just don't believe in. It's the boy who cried wolf. And that if you actually care about women and sexual assault and rape and all this kind of stuff, you have to be just as outraged when someone makes something like this up as if someone actually did it. And the difference between those two is staggering. Like, the Blasey Ford got, I think it was almost $1 million to make up her accusation, and where are all the people throwing her under the bus for making it up? I mean, we don't know 100% sure, but we know, based off how you need to run things in a just and fair society, that innocent until proven guilty is necessary to having a just and fair society. So based off that, she made it up. And she didn't have nearly enough proof, like even close to enough proof to get any rational person to agree with her. And that if we really want this to change, and that's the fact that whenever I hear about one of these sexual assault cases and I hear people assume that the person's making it up, I don't, people seem to get all emotional and that they get all over these people, and like, I don't, like, it's people like this' fault for this. That, let's say that there had never been a false sexual assault or rape allegation ever, just hypothetical, obviously could never have happened that way in history, but let's just say that that's the case. The only way that someone would say, oh, I bet you're making it up, is if they're like a psychopath or sociopath, like literally. But the problem is that so many of these cases have been made up that a lot of times people assume that they're fake. And it's sad, not for the reason that people are assholes because they assume it's fake. It's sad because they're right so much of the time to assume that it's fake, especially in these high profile cases, because you can literally make hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to make these things up. Not only that, if let's just assume Kavanaugh was taken out, you could score a big political win too. Like, people don't realize just how big some people take their politics too. Like, it kind of boggles people's mind for some people, but when you understand some of these people, that politics is a huge thing for them. So this is another case that's not a great sign for the feminist types and all this kind of stuff. And that I wish it weren't the case. I really do, but until the other problem too is that there's, from a legal perspective, there's almost no incentive for people not to make up false accusations. What needs to be changed is that if you accuse someone and they're found innocent, then you need a penalty for yourself. Or if you, in a civil case, sue someone for it, you need a financial penalty. Maybe not the exact same as what the accused would have got if they were found guilty, but it needs to be enough so that people stop making up these false things, because it's going to keep getting worse and worse. And the reason why people make up the false claims is because people's life nowadays, in the era of social media, literally can be ruined. It's not like, I mean, back in the day, if you were accused, you could move to a new town or a new city and fly under the radar. Now that's not the case. I mean, if you go to get a job, people are going to look over your social media. You know, you're going to make new friends who are going to friend you on Facebook or Instagram, all this kind of stuff, which probably going to have similar friends from your old town, which means they're going to interact, and eventually people are going to find out about you. So it's impossible to, if you have these false claims, it's impossible to get out from under it. And that's why I tend to, when I'm kind of someone in the middle when it comes to this issue, but I tend to side with the assume made up crowd, because they assume that the women are always making up credible allegations, or they're always credible. The difference is that they always say that, oh well, if the person's making it up, I'll condemn them, which they rarely do. And if they do, they tiptoe around it and they do it as little as humanly possible. And that, in my mind, until you're willing to get on board changing laws so that if people who make up these kind of things have penalties, whether it's criminal in a criminal case or whether it's financial in a civil case, then I can't agree with you, because you have, if you don't agree with that, then you have no interest in justice. You have no interest in it whatsoever. You're just siding with what society wants you to side with, because society as a whole wants you to side with the feminist, women are always telling the truth crowd. So you don't want to ruffle the feathers, you don't want to stir the pot kind of thing. And in reality, you should be a little bit. So that's about all. If you liked the video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.